class, like, we connect with other cultures by, like, watching Make First the Raven and
Two older men.
yeah, and like watching those videos, like the first one of the first videos, like the when that celebration, when they were hitting their backs with the
Way
that,
back when, the Senegalese.
Yeah, and then the wrestling.
The Senegalese wrestling team.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Helga?
In this unit, we made connections because you inherited your culture from your parents, your grandparents, your great grandparents, and so on.
The thing in our unit that connects to connection is Make Prayers to the Raven usually connects to us because when we're hunting, we do it for money and for fun, usually. And when they're hunting for food and what they need.
Okay, so you're looking for the connection between hunting and our culture and their culture. Hello?
When we were watching the video on how the baby grows inside the mom's stomach and what culture they relate to. There were different ways of how, like, the baby was being raised and what they eat. And you said that if the mother is addicted to drugs, then the baby will be addicted to drugs because everything the mother eats will be going down into the baby.
For connection, it's like when we do things like posters or projects or things like that, you have to connect what you have learned to what you are learning and what you have learned to what you're creating. And so you have to connect those two to have them work together to make the best possible thing.
The biggest connection where we probably had was connecting our culture to everyone else's culture, like Africa and Alaska. Mostly the Senegalese in Africa, and then the Athabascans in Alaska. And talking to Peter had to do with England, and we learned a lot about we compared our culture to their culture, and we had what they did and what we what we had and what they had, and we connect what we did, somewhat what they did, because they hunt a lot and we hunt. Yeah.
That's great, Martin. Well said.
So like Peter said, that the more you go away from the city, the kinder you are, the kinder people are. So, and like also connection between cultures, he said that different cultures, because he crossed cultures, a similar thing was that they were all compassionate, so that's a connection between cultures.
Like with the panda, the pandas and the chispas, they're sort of, they had sort of similar things, like they talk with certain genders mostly, and like they sort of are opposites, so they're basically completely opposite, so that's sort of a connection.
For perspective, or I guess connection, we really connected ourselves and who we are onto our masks, and just showing like what everybody sees and what everybody doesn't see. That's connecting to who we are.
And it's both connection and perspective and reflection. Yeah.
I think that for connection, our culture project would be like an example because of because we have to connect ourselves to our culture and how we're connected to our culture.
And to your parents and to your grandparents, those connections too. Yeah. Good.
I think the general idea of connection of this unit is that we compare our connections to our culture to the connections that other people have to their culture and like compare them.
Good.
We
Thank
have
you.
lots of different perspectives about other cultures. Like, we might think the activities they do are weird or...
Can you give us an example of something that a perspective was very different than yours?
Like when the people from Africa were hitting themselves in the back with a huge club thing.
So you don't do that, do you? I don't think your family does. Okay, Julian?
So we compared different cultures like Africa, Mexico, Germany, and all different kinds of cultures, and we actually were in different cultures like the Athabascans, and we were in different cultures like the Athabascans, Senegalese, and Sudanese, and all different kinds of culture, which also I think that it really reflects on our unit.
And so the different perspectives of culture too, right? Fatima, with you?
I think our masks shows how we see our perspectives because we designed it about how we are and what we like, so we might see those as different perspectives as everyone else.
Good for you, yeah. Angela?
Like Julian said, many countries have different perspectives of seeing the world. For example, I'm Christian, and I see the world like I think that God made the world. That's how I see the world. So.
And that's very different than someone who might be Hindu. They have things in common, maybe connections also, but if you're Buddhist, it might be very different too. Hannah?
When we're having conversations as a class, we have different perspectives and we come up with ideas better.
Sure, and we just saw one where there's a conflict of some sort, and everybody involved has a very different perspective, right? And then, yeah, Merritt.
When we were doing the pandias and the chispas, there were two different tribes, and they had way different perspectives, and they ran into each other, and we did their perspectives. So one tribe was like touching people and asking what their names were, and then the other tribe was backing away and not talking.
Very nice. Aiden, you want to jump in here?
For perspective, I think for perspective, you'd have to be open-minded. There are so many different cultures and like what they believe and what they value. They all see the world in a different perspective, in a different way. And in order to see how they see it, you have to be open-minded and to actually, you have to agree with them. You can't start a conflict.
Including in this classroom, when things happen in the classroom, perspective can really vary. And being open-minded about that would be important.
Like every night when we write in our UOI journals, details. We all have a different perspective of what we learned that day, and we all have a different perspective of what we write about.
No, definitely. And multiple perspectives could be correct. Brooksy.
First perspectives, kind of like theirs. We all have, well, kind of a combination of words, because we all have different perspectives, and it's kind of like different. It's like we all see one thing in a different perspective, which means like we all see it in a different way. Like,
And can you see that in the kids' masks
yes.
that show up there? That's pretty clear, huh? Yeah. And last one, Marco.
People's perspectives is just how they see the world, and the Senegalese may see the world as everything is made up from God, and maybe you're not Christian or Hindu or Muslim, and you just think the world is made up from the sun or just a big supernova. And
A more scientific view, maybe.
yeah, more scientific view. And so, but you have to be open-minded to be in other people's culture, so you don't mess up. Maybe say something they don't like.
A gaffe, even a gesture,
yes.
a gaffe.
Like, maybe don't do this in Australia because it's equal to the middle finger. Yeah, I think.